Welcome to Decades of Horror, the classic era.
Where are you? What do you look like? What am I supposed to be looking for? I know you're out there, but you're hiding in the desert. Maybe I'm looking right at you and I don't even see you. Come on out!
This is episode 155, recorded July 9th, 2023.
Gruesome Magazine.
Hey.
And my name is Jeff Mohr, and I'm right here if you've been looking for me. Yes, on this podcast, we cover the good, the bad, and maybe even the ugly horror films released since the beginning of time through 1969. In each episode, we'll discuss the monsters, spirits, psychos, and villains that have haunted movie-going audiences since the dawn of film history. Yay. With me this week are my incredible co-hosts. First up is Chad Hunt, co-host on Decades of Horror. The other ones, and this one, film producer and director with Wreak Havoc Productions, and a comic book artist and writer. How you doing, Chad?
I'm doing fine. It's going to be fun tonight because I took my meds.
It'd be more fun if you didn't, wouldn't it? Or did you take extra meds?
That's debatable. Yeah.
Someday I'm going to bring some of my Chad Hunt comic books on and flash them just to show.
They can find them in any dollar bin.
Mine weren't $1. And they were wrapped in plastic. Also with us is Daphne, the awesome, stupendous, and likable as hell. How are you, Daphne?
I'm doing real good.
Excellent.
It's great to see you guys.
Good to see you, Daphne.
I see through the social media world that you are working on your costume.
Yes, I'm so excited. We'll see what ends up being a huge failure, and then what it turns into next after that. And I started off with what I'm working with now. Is I just got home from yesterday when I went to Goodwill. I had walked out of there with some old curtains and a shirt, and that's what I'm starting with. And I think it's going to be awesome. At least right now. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be a shady affair.
I just found them hanging in a window somewhere.
All right. Also with us, last but not least, is the OG Grue-Crew, Doc Rod. How you doing, Doc?
The OG. Oh my God, I'm doing OG. How are you?
Original gangster. Original gangster.
I'm doing good. Doing good. Nice.
Good to have you here, Doc. I'm excited to talk with you all about this movie. But first up, we have to remind everybody that Gruesome Magazine and Decades of Horror are partnering with Play Now Media on several of their channels. The Classic Era is on the Classic Sci-Fi Movie Channel, the Classic Horror Movie Channel, and the Wicked Horror TV channel. And as of like a couple of weeks ago, all of our video episodes are live on those channels I just listed. Like 91 through 153, I think. I can't remember.
Wow.
Just in
our
case
buddy at Play Now Media is
enough of us over here.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's loading them monthly. So like in the first week of August and everything we've done on Decades of Horror in July, we'll go up to. So anyway, check them out. Lots of cool stuff there. I mean, a lot of movies that I know that I'm going to do in the future, like 4D Man is one I really want to do. 20 Million Miles to Earth is another classic, or, you know, other stuff that maybe not so classic. The Mole People. Anyway,
I like the mole.
Some would argue.
Some might argue. All right. Spoiler alert on this podcast. We start out by giving some basic details of the film. This particular firm is this is the 70th anniversary of the release.
Wow.
And yeah. So anyway, if you haven't seen this, we're going to spoil it for you. So stop and go watch it. This is, by the way, is on the Classic Sci-Fi Movie Channel. So you can check it out there. All right. Let's see here. Let me get started this is the film we're doing.
Oh, nice.
That is awesome.
Let me do the sound effect.
Okay.
Okay.
That was perfect.
In space,
Excellent.
no one can hear you explode. Oh, wait, that was on here. All right, so our film is It Came from Outer Space from 1953, directed by Jack Arnold, written a little bit by Harry Essex from a Ray Bradbury treatment. The cast includes Richard Carlson, Barbara Rush, Charles Drake, Joe Sawyer, Russell Johnson, Kathleen Hughes, production company Universal International, filmed at Santa Clarita, Universal City, Dead Man's Point, Mojave Desert, and Victorville, California from January to March 1953. And it was released. The LA premiere was May 26, 1953, and countrywide on June 5th, 1953. God, I hate when they do this, but there's so much different information on there. So the budget on IMDb and someplace else, I forget, was listed as $800,000 estimated. Tom Weaver on the commentary says the budget was $532,000, and then they added another like $31,000 for the creature stuff. So I don't know why that's a pretty big difference in my opinion from that time. Also, the same thing with domestic box office. We get one source says 1.6 million in rentals. Ultimate Movie Ranking says 4.8 million, which kind of might sort of match the rentals. And then Tom Weaver once again said 6.5 million. So at any rate, I'd say it was a success. Also known as Atomic Monster, Strangers from Outer Space, and The Meteor. Those are all kind of working titles. Mm-hmm. This is about a spaceship from another world that crashes in the Arizona desert, and only an amateur stargazer and a school teacher suspect alien influence when the local townsfolk begin to act strangely.
A school teacher who never taught one day of school while all this was going on.
The whole time. Nope. It was just like this 5-day weekend. Yeah, and this shot here is sort of zoomed in on. We get a long shot of the ship and that door open, and then this little doll that's supposed to be Richard Carlson standing outside the thing. But I like the shot. I like the shot.
It is nice.
It's interesting to me how they made basically a painted sphere look so alien and creepy and lit up and stuff. But anyway,
giant bees.
All right.
Yes.
That's our movie. So I think got to go into first impressions before we do taglines. And since this is my pick, I'm going to let you guys go first. Doc.
Hey! Scared me.
So when did you first see this? And
oh man, I love this movie. I saw it back in the Monster Kid days when it showed up on TV. I'm sure I've seen this thing a dozen times. But I saw it in 3D for the first time actually over the weekend. I had bought the 2D 3D Blu-ray probably on sale somewhere.
Yep.
And I finally unwrapped it and put it
right next to one of my comic books.
That's exactly the one I have right there.
Yep. Down here it says 2D, 3D.
Put it in my 3D Blu-ray player and played it on my 3D TV, and I had the best time. This movie is so much fun. This is, yeah, I mean, come on, this movie's a class. It's perfect in every way. The funky creature, the bad dialogue, the great character actors. I love this movie. I had a great time. This is a blast. It's an absolute blast. And it looks great. So it looks great in 3D, by the way. They did a great job on it. Now,
cool.
I don't know who still has.
That's what I've read. But
It was fantastic.
How many times have you used that anyway, Doc?
Well, back in the heyday, I would watch everything. I mean, I have
okay.
A plethora of 3D movies.
A plethora.
Stop using them big words.
Cornucopia. All right.
Veritable
Let's hear
cornucopia.
Let's hear from Daphne next.
Daphne, do you know what a plethora is?
First, and what are your first impressions?
Yeah, I had to have one removed last year.
I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I've seen it a bunch of times. I'm sure not as much as Doc, but I'm sure I saw it either on Saturdays or during summer break when I could watch TV more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is definitely a classic. The alien vision, being able to see the alien's point of view, the sparkly dust in the tracks, and the freak out music, and one of my favorite scenes is the montage of animals reacting to the alien, the owl, and everything. I just love it, and it gives me some big feels for being like an old sci-fi movie. Like, I really think that Richard Carlson and Barbara Rush do a good job together. I think they've got chemistry, and they like it, and they like each other, and they do a good job. And I want the sheriff is annoying as hell. I can't add the sheriff to bugs. And then I want to punch the journalists in the face. So it's like, I feel like I have some, like I react to the movie and stuff. And I think it's so much fun. Exactly. That if it inspires violence in me,
it's
or
good.
I like to think of it as passion, then it's good. It's good.
Okay. TMI.
It's passionate.
It's a passion.
Yes.
It's not that's
all right. Well, violent. I have one particular slide with a question for you, Daphne, that I just am going to need your opinion on, and it has to do with wardrobe, but we'll get there.
Does it have to do with buttons?
It does.
Oh, my buttons.
All right. Next up is Chad. How about you, man?
I didn't feel passionate enough about it to punch anybody, but
for the record, I didn't actually punch anybody.
I bet if he was there, Daphne would have been swinging.
Yeah,
for sure. But I love this movie. I've watched this movie. I couldn't tell you how many times I've watched it, but it was always one of my favorite sci-fi movies. And as a little kid, I always got it mixed up with it came from outer space, it came from beneath the sea, it came from Captain Crunch's toilet bowl, all of that. It came from movies were the thing back then. But I love this. Yeah, and I watched this. I think one of the first times I watched it was with my grandfather, and I was one of those kids that would sit there next to him and go, "Why did he do that? What happened there? What did he say? Why is he going to do that? What are they going to do now, Grandpa?" And then when they showed the little shiny trail of I was going, "Wow, this thing craps diamonds. Why do they want to kill it?" And I remember him saying, "If I could get away with it, I'd choke you." But yeah, passion. Yeah, he was passionate about me shutting the hell up, like that thing. But
I think we've all said that to you at least once, right? So.
Probably, or thought. But yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I'm so glad to hear this, because this was also one of my favorites, and it fits in, those well, like 3 or 4, maybe 5 of those favorite movies from the 50s that I just watched over and over. They had a big impact on me when I was like 10 or 11 when I watched them. And this one in particular started my phobia of what if you weren't really you?
Oh, yeah, it does have that, doesn't it? Yeah.
That built onto Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But so those 2 movies are like
that come free with the DVD?
No, that I searched this out.
Anyway. I would ask you, how many of those films were directed by Jack Arnold? Because it's probably a good half of them.
We will get to that. We will. But not Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That was Don Siegel. But anyway,
No, not Invasion.
I love the monsters. They scared the crap out of me. The whole looking through the eyeball thing creeped me out. And the first time they saw those guys, I'll show you when we do a picture of him. But that guy is like, he lives in my nightmare. Frank, the guy that was up on the pole, him standing in the middle of the road. I don't know why. Not the professor, probably because I saw the professor later and other stuff. But wow. And I totally bought into all of it. You know, it just all the little. Anyway, we'll get into that.
When they're down that hallway when Hero was chasing him, and it's that's so good. That's so creepy.
I have a question for you guys, quickly. So, in the images that I find online, when George and Frank are standing in the dark hallway and they show them, some of the images online have their eyes glowing. But it wasn't like that in the movie, so I didn't know if that was.
I don't think so.
No, somebody did it.
That
somebody
was promo.
added that effect.
Promo.
Marketing.
All right. Well, now it's time for
Who's that handsome feller?
taglines with Chad.
I like that. I like that music a lot.
That was good.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
theremin right out of the movie.
Theremin. Yeah, this movie was full of the theremins.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Are you sure you want me to read taglines?
I do.
Mean, you cut some of them out of here, but holy God, there's still
like a dozen.
All right, let's get them done and over with. All right. Your taglines for It Came from Outer Space Night for 1953 are as follows. An avalanche in your lap. That's happened to me before in high school. A helicopter over your head. A spaceship zooms at you. That must be for the 3D effect thing. This thing
all in top. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's a big point to make. Is this was a huge 3D release, so everything is built around that. And we'll talk more about that later. But go ahead.
Okay.
I love the avalanche in your lap.
Yeah, that's marvelous.
Did you know?
I remember
at the premiere in LA, Jack Arnold and some of the other crew threw styrofoam rocks off the sides of the theater onto people during the avalanche.
Oh no!
They did.
It sounds like a 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's get these done with.
William Castle part of the group.
Here's what you need to do: throw rocks at them. We'll kill somebody. Make them out of styrofoam. Paint them black, or you don't have to paint them at all.
Styrofoam.
All right. The second tagline: terror in 3D, reaching from the screen to seize you in its grasp. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thrills that almost touch you through the magic of 3 dimension.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Ever. All right. Anyway, the outer space rocket ship, the thundering avalanche. There's something going on with these avalanches. That's it. That's it for that one. Xenomorphs invade our world. They can look like humans or change to objects of awesome terror.
True. These taglines are true, actually, as opposed to a lot of the taglines.
Here's the idea, boys. State the obvious. Geniuses in marketing. Exploding from the eye of the universe. It came to rule the world in a kingdom of fear. That's bullshit. How can you escape from a sight you cannot see, from a force you cannot feel, from a fear you cannot face?
A little hyperbole there.
Yeah, they were kind of
I like this next one.
It could happen today, or has it already?
Are you really you?
You passed the sugar.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. They came from space, but were they friends or foes? Well, they made it awful hard to be friends with. I can tell you that much. Well, let's kill them, boys. Amazing thrills in 3 dimension. No punctuation. Fantastic sights leap at you. No punctuation. Fantastic sights leap at you?
In 3D, there's no punctuation.
There's no punctuation in
3D, I guess. Yeah.
Punctuation.
Oh,
And
there
the top two lines are always caps, and then the one below is lower.
Yeah, you got to say that like Tom Hanks. There's no punctuation in.
There's no punctuation in 50s monster films. Okay, amazing, exciting, spectacular, like these taglines. Okay, talking about crickets. A helicopter's churning blades whirl inches from your head on screen.
Or closer.
In scientifically perfected eye resting full sepia monocolor. Eye resting? Well, I guess if you only got one eye.
And I don't know what his full sepia monocolor sounds like. I don't know.
Yeah, what's full
sepia anyway? Well, thanks, crew believers.
That was fun.
Tagline
for you guys. I was trying to play a theremin, but
before we go any farther, since that one, a couple of those taglines talk about helicopters. A guy named Carl Lawrence, who's on the 2nd unit crew, walked into the stabilizer rotor of that helicopter.
Oh no!
And lost an eye. His jaw was fractured, and his skull was fractured.
That's what he gets.
Ouch.
You just don't walk willy-nilly up into.
Well, and that was like, I wasn't going anywhere near that helicopter. But anyway,
every time there's a movie with a helicopter in it that they're running from, it just makes me go, oh my god! And then then to hear about that it actually happened to someone else,
right?
Because he didn't run. He didn't run like the other people.
He just, anyway. So posters. We got posters galore, and I hope you got your foreign language things on. So there's like all kinds of variations of this. There's your amazing, spectacular and thing, and then they do like this, the big it, and then Came from Outer Space comes out at a different angle to make it look 3D. I think. I don't know. Is there a ship flying into that eye, or what is that? I don't know.
It looks like the comet ship at the beginning.
Okay.
What if it was really a little tiny dust speck of a spaceship and it really flew into somebody's eye and got stuck there? And that's how they take him over.
That'd be in a Marvel comic.
Yeah.
Worlds within worlds or something. This one actually, so if you go from there to here, this seems really
tame.
I don't know, comic booky or something, or what would you say, Doc?
Yeah, comic booky or comic booky.
Bright light.
3-dimension. And we got the avalanche.
Looks like they're getting ready to have a party. Yeah, wow.
Well, it does. They all have people doing that, 3-dimension, it came from outer space.
Look at all the heads.
There's always heads. And there's always this eye is like squirting on them. I don't know exactly what.
I like the bottom one though. It's kind of cool.
It is. It is. And now I think, how's everybody's? Is this the French one?
Or
I know that's not French, is it? What is that? Oh, this is the Belgian one. So French.
That is very cool looking. What's going on?
And I did that one especially for the like the hand sticking out of the eye, which makes.
That's crazy.
I thought that was terrifying and I didn't even.
Yeah, it wasn't in the movie, but that would be scary.
Look at the poor people sitting in the theater seats.
I didn't see that.
They're
all pretty calm. I don't know what's going on there. But...
Oh, right.
Oh, that's
and most of these, it's weird. They put it's like a screen, right? There's a screen on there
to promote 3D.
Those are like different screens down there.
Like it's jumping off the screen.
There's a screen.
Yeah.
All right.
The guy in the back row there is going, "This ain't scary.
Yeah, this ain't scary.
This ain't scary."
No, they're just a different layout, and this looks like it would have been UK. Maybe they a lot of times put that for general exhibition. They put these weird symbols on them. I don't know.
No, that was for guys that like to flash the audience. This is for
kids.
They did at my theater when I was a kid.
French.
Old Larry. Crazy Larry was his name.
I believe that's the meteor of the night. I have no idea how to say that. But that's kind of cool.
Cool, yeah.
The meteor of the night, I think.
Cool colors.
It came from outer space. In parentheses below that.
Oh, okay.
That's not what that
and German.
Jafar. Jafar.
That's I believe it came from outer space.
They're so different than the first ones that focused on the 3D.
Yeah, these are way darker.
Yeah.
I wonder if it played in 3D all across the world.
That's a good question because it's
played in 3D in the States.
Interesting. Maybe, yeah.
There's little Richard Carlson standing in front of the ship. Okay. So
wow,
this bottom one is just the craziest colors, but
yeah,
the top one is all of this. It's almost like an advertising piece, you know. Another famous first with wide vision screen and stereophonic sound, and Thunder Bay that's at New York State. The first 3D picture on the giant wide vision screen with stereophonic sound. The first 3D science fiction story. The first all 3D program. The first 3D musical featurette. And at the bottom it says Nat King Cole and
he was in this movie.
There was a
featurette.
It was a featurette. They took it out of the movie because they knew you would just fast forward it anyway. So,
well, not if it was Nat King Cole.
But so yeah, this is like one of those, you know, like come in one of those advertising packs or something almost.
I really like the bottom one. I think that is crazy.
That's crazy green and red. Yeah.
That's nuts.
How can you escape from a sight you cannot see? All those. Now, to kind of go along with that, that's the I think, yeah. To go along with that, this is the movie marquee from the premiere in LA at the Hill Street Theater. And,
I'd love to go see a movie in a theater.
And you can see on there, plus Nat King Cole and the Russ Morgan Orchestra. So there was that extra featurette.
That's so cool.
Wide vision screen, 3D on the giant wide vision screen. The night the Earth will never forget.
People lined up to go inside.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. That is cool. I love seeing old pictures like that.
I have one like
Alrighty.
with the Mummy, Boris Karloff's The Mummy when it came.
Oh
out.
yeah.
And it's amazing, the displays and everything that they had for those.
Oh,
so let's. Doc brought up Jack Arnold, so let's move right into that. Jack Arnold. These are the ones. This is the fourth Jack Arnold movie we've done, and that's a younger Jack Arnold on the top with Rico Browning, I believe. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, and The Incredible Shrinking Man. We've done those. That's a older Jack Arnold. Boy, my tongue wants to make up vowel sounds.
Just roll with it.
Roll with it. All right. These are some other ones from the 50s that we haven't done.
Oh, Tarantula. Yeah.
This Island Earth, The Space Children, and Monster on the Campus.
Of course, he's uncredited on This Island Earth.
Yes.
So did he? What I wondered, like, did he fill in for somebody else?
I'm trying to remember how that went. If he came in to fix it, I can't remember, but it does have.
Jack, our movie's leaking. Can you put some on this stuff?
I'll have to take a look here in a minute. Somebody look that up. It'll be in trivia under This Island Earth if you want. What was I gonna? But so when they first put this movie out, there was a big argument. Ray Bradbury. So first off, talking about the writers, according to almost everybody except Harry Essex, Ray Bradbury pretty much wrote this. And Harry Essex came in and just copied his and added a little dialogue here and there to flesh out the story. But Harry Essex gets the big credit.
That still happens.
Yeah. So yeah, they said his Bradbury's treatment was like around, I saw different listings, anywhere from 90 to 120 pages. But he actually did several revisions. And anyway, he and Jack Arnold were very strongly convinced not to show the creature. They did not want to show it. And after the bigwigs at the studio screened it, they said, come up with some sketches and we'll see if we like it better. Well, they came up with 2 options, and one of them ends up being in This Island Earth. It was very close to this.
Oh, wow.
It was an exposed brain with large eyeballs, and this was a mutant in This Island Earth.
Well, it says here that most of the Metaluna sequence was directed by Jack Arnold in This Island Earth.
Yeah.
No.
I think maybe he had to.
Not happy with how the original footage did, so they had Arnold come in and redo those.
Yeah, and you're right. He is uncredited on that. Anyway. All right. So Jack Arnold. I found this, what I thought was an interesting quote from him. I love science fiction. As a youngster, I used to buy all the pulp magazines. I loved them. I was very pleased when I was assigned to direct my first SF film because I was still an avid fan. The more I did this type of film, the better I liked it because the studio left me alone. No one at the time at the studio was an expert at directing SF films, so I claimed to be one. I wasn't, but the studio didn't know that. So
he lied on his resume.
So anyway.
And that still happens today, too.
So this particular movie was nominated for Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation. It won the Hugo. Oh, no. The Incredible Shrinking Man won the Hugo Award. This one was nominated for Hugo Award. So anyway, Jack Arnold, guys. Anything here that tells you it's Jack Arnold or that
Yeah. The thing I love about Jack Arnold films is he does not waste time. I mean, he gets right to the meat of it. Like right at the beginning of most of the ones that I've seen movies of his, you see the monster right away, or at least a clue of the monster. Like in Creature, you see the hand come up out of the water. And in this one, you sort of you meet the monster right away as soon as that ship lands, and I like the way he just gets right to the meat of the action and the story and everything. Doesn't waste a lot of time with a lot of people talking and stuff like that. I like that.
He handles the cast, the actors really well.
Mm-hmm.
He really concentrates. Like Creature, you can do that as well.
Yeah,
because then he brings the cast together and.
But it's cool that he did that first before he ever even really introduced anybody yet, and sort of setting up the threat of what it is in Creature, and in this too, actually.
Hey, it starts off with the thing flying past, the meteor flying past.
Yeah,
flying right at the camera.
That's such an awesome shot of that ship coming right at the camera. So they open the movie with that shot, and then show it again within a couple minutes as really part of the movie instead of the title screen.
That title card, that title screen, really, when I saw that as a kid, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
I've never seen it in 3D, but I bet it was awesome to see in 3D. The whole big ship coming toward the screen and the big giant title. It came from outer space.
And I think they did a great job with the ship also, just that it's so simple. Yeah, it's so simple, but it's so, even though it's, I don't know, it just triggers a lot of a reaction to it. I think
Yeah, it
like
feels alien, right?
It feels alien,
you know,
even though you're like a honeycomb, but it's like, ooh, something about it's kind of, different and creepy. Yeah.
And when the door opens out.
Mm-hmm.
So this reminds me of the, the story that John Hancock told about the body in the underwater in What Scared Jessica to Death. The story on how they created this. They said the ship was made out of a piece of 1/4-inch thick iron formed from into a hollow ball. And then they cut, pieces out for the holes, put a tail on the back, tail fin, and then a little door in the back that they put a can of magnesium powder in, which burned very brightly. And then the whole thing slid down a wire towards the camera.
Actually, it was toward a mirror.
It was.
Yes, it was toward a mirror. The camera was so the camera was focused on the mirror so it could get the very last frame as it hit the mirror.
Wow.
And you could see the edge of the mirror. If you
I didn't notice it, but that's hilarious.
I saw when I went back and watched it again after reading about that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there it is." But it's
you don't notice it.
Cool,
you really you're so focused on the thing coming right at you.
No, but that's
so
a great
cool.
cinema trick, right? Yeah,
it is. I mean, you're looking at that and you're thinking, "Wow, this is awesome." I mean, there are some movies at that time that use like little cut out figures, that kind of went across the sky that didn't look realistic at all. But this was like even the from a distance, the fireball looked really good. All righty. So yeah, he did a great job. So then they go back and do those shots with the creatures after the fact. And so I suppose they had to plug in they might have already had the eye shots. I don't know.
The POV shots.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, I wonder how they did
reshoot or not, but
I wonder how they did the car scene, because the car scene works because of the creature there. So did they shoot that scene after the fact, or did it? They
must have. They said the scenes that needed actors. They said they shot it all in one day.
Oh, okay.
So I suppose they just shot it with a projection in front of the car. Anyway, I don't know.
You're talking about when George came out and stopped in the middle of the road. That kind of shot.
That,
and when they're driving down the road and the creature's on the highway.
Oh yeah.
And we have a shot from the back seat of the car. I got a couple pictures of that stuff, but
yep. And that's when they pull over and everything. Yeah, I mean that scared me as a kid.
Yeah. Oh that. Hell yes. Hell yes. Driving down the road in the dark.
Not just regular yes, but hell yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's like
stuff.
It reminds me of all the eye monster movies that you get later in the 50s and into the 60s. They were always really bad.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
well, when I was watching it, it reminded me, you were talking about how it kind of influenced it in later things. Do you guys ever watch Red Dwarf? The British, but they have one where there's an alien that has an eye like that, and it's just so awesome to kind of just to see how it inspires imagination and later things.
Let's just it's a fairly small cast, so I got this one shot with everybody in it plus the two globs, which is I guess what they call the people that have been taken over. They've been globbed. So that one shot is in the top pictures in the sheriff's office, and Richard Carlson kind of in the forefront, Barbara Rush on the right. Richard Carlson is John Putnam, who she calls Johnny all the time, and her name is Ellen, correct? Is that?
Yeah.
And
they've got Ellen. Yeah, that's right.
Now the sheriff's name is Matt. He's in the back in the middle. And then Russell Johnson, George's girlfriend, is Kathleen Hughes, which is
he's Frank's girlfriend. Russell Johnson's
girlfriend. No. Yeah, but that was George. Frank is the guy with the hat on.
Oh, I thought George was the guy with the hat on. Frank was Russell Johnson. Not right. Not correct. Okay.
Nope. But anyway, and then the woman on the left, Virginia Mullen, was Frank's wife, or Joe Sawyer's wife, character's wife.
And nobody gave one crap about her. She's a poor lady sitting there crying, going, "My husband," and they're going, "Yeah, whatever. You're hysterical, you dame."
Yeah, they were definitely two different types of women, weren't they?
Yeah,
they were, and apparently Kathleen Hughes was Universal International's idea of a competition with Marilyn Monroe. But there's one real line in there that's really out of place. She's George's girlfriend, and as she's walking out of the sheriff's office, she kind of gives kind of a wink or a nod to Richard Carlson as she's going out, and he just kind of turns around like, what the hell was that? It was weird, like she would flirt with him. But anyway, yeah, Joe Sawyer, that's the guy that lived in my nightmares for a few years.
That was so disturbing. Well, I mean, they really nailed that. Like, you're acting strange. What's going on? It's really disturbing.
So yeah, they, Chad, you said they didn't make any waste any time. We see the first creature 6 minutes into the movie.
Yeah. I love that.
They open the hatch of the ship, and he comes out, and that, that was one cheap monster to make, I think, but it sure, with you added the smoke and the steam and fog around it, it just looked creepier.
When the creatures were attacking, you could see, and I've never figured this out as many times as I've watched it, but something comes around them, but it looks solid. It didn't look like smoke. If you look like from behind, I don't know if it was supposed to be fake smoke or something, but it looked like a solid thing that came around, and then smoke came in from the front. I couldn't tell what that was. I could be wrong.
Well, Doc, I read something somewhere where they said there's actually arms on the creatures, but you couldn't see them unless you're watching it in 3D. Did it seem to you like there was arms?
I didn't notice the arms, but yeah, I noticed what Chad was talking about, because the smoke felt like it kind of enveloped them, came around them.
Yeah, it felt like they were like,
you could really see
wrapping a blanket around them, kind of thing.
Yeah, something weird was going on there.
Yeah, that effect in 3D worked out really well, because it did feel like it was just all around them, and you could feel it.
Well, see it. Even the first shot when they show them and they're walking, you see the creature, but then you see like this little wisp of like cotton trailing behind them, and then the glitter on the ground. That was creepy too, especially when you add the theremin music in behind it.
Yeah, it was diamond crap.
Yeah. So this happens a couple times. They're driving down the road. Look at the expression on their faces. They're like, and then the same thing happens to
there it is.
George and Frank. Yeah, baby.
Not a very well defined creature. I can't tell if that's smoke or if it's hair.
Well, let me see if I can find it, because I don't want to. I had a description of that.
It always felt like smoke. It always felt.
Well,
like
it is. It's both. It's let me. God dang it!
Only our hairdresser knows for
I hate
sure.
when I do this.
Yes. I'm not going to give away.
Okay, the xenomorphs are trailing like cotton or woven glass and angel hair. These things all over them, but they also had, and he said it was a combination of dry ice fog and like bee smoke or steam. And the smoke and the reason, one of the things that makes it look really creepy is the dry ice fog falls. It tends to go down. It's heavier, and the steam and the smoke go up. So there was smoke going both directions around those things when they
feels ethereal, otherworldly,
giving me the creeps. And then when they glob somebody.
There you go.
That was so. As I watching this as a kid, I was so disgusted by that.
Yeah,
it felt gross and disturbing.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
It was the first
trapped in a family reunion Jello mold.
supposedly this was the first point of view shot for the alien, for an alien.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, and I like how that was also established pretty early on with, because, and then now you see it with the victim in the view. I really like that.
Yeah, because you see it like coming right out of the ship at the beginning, right? Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty quick. So that was another one that there was a place in here in the trivia. They said that they made a tough bubble out of some chemical that they put over the camera lens. And I'm like, that sounds really hard. But then Tom Weaver in the commentary said they took a big bowl and put oil in it and then shimmered it back and forth and shot into it. And then they superimposed that over the, that seems to me like what it looks like. This idea of a tough bubble just sounds a little.
You're not buying it? Skeptical?
I'm not buying it. I let's say I bought the bowl of oil because it kind of looks like, the rims of a bowl in there too, if you had that. I don't know.
But I think it did, even if it is that rims of a bowl, I like how you very clearly can say, oh, that's an eye. You don't have to think about it. You just accept it and you just.
And I'm sure at the time it looked very, very weird and alien-like to the audience.
Oh,
yeah.
It did to me. I watched this like in the early 60s and everything about this creeped me out. When the people that were taken over, the eye shot, point of view shots, and the creature itself, everything just like. Yeah. Anyway.
And the composition of design focuses you in on the on the actor. So so it really works.
Yeah.
So then let's see, we did that mutant. So this is George after he's been globbed. He's a creature now. And that was a fake out too, because they're talking to him there and Johnny sees the hand sticking out from behind the rocks and he thinks it's Frank.
But it's not.
Nope. It's the real George. So anyway, and he's staring at the sun, which
without blinking,
they think is a little weird. But Daphne, this is the outfit I was wondering about.
Yeah.
So that has to be a matching something or another.
I know it perplexed me too, Jeff, and I'm so happy that you now have come over to my distractions. I know it has to be one piece. I don't know. It's a mystery within a mystery.
Which one are you talking about? The girls,
the woman.
Oh, okay.
The outfit of the woman. The buttons on the blouse continue with the skirt. It's a beautiful dress and outfit, and it must be one piece, but I couldn't find a zipper, so it must be like a hidden zipper on the side, maybe. I don't know, but it's gorgeous, and I was sucked into it too.
Are identically designed and in perfect spacing
in the exact same spot. Yeah, I don't even know how with her moving it stayed straight. It's quite impressive.
Welcome to decades of minutia.
I know.
I would never have figured. I would have never have
even noticed.
Daphne's got me zeroing in on the wardrobe. So I also noticed as I was looking for pictures that showed this, I saw that collar and that little tie or whatever that is peeking out. She had a jacket that went with that too.
Beautiful.
Anyway,
Jeff had asked because he has one in his closet. Looks just like it, but it doesn't have the buttons.
Yes.
I do. But I can never get the buttons to line up. That's the problem. Okay.
Yay.
Try putting it on standing up. Might make it easy.
They're talking to him going, boy, is this guy weird. Should we just keep smiling? Don't let him know how weird we think he is.
Kind of like now for us in general.
Yeah.
Michael Myers. Now that's an outfit right there.
Exactly. And I also was like, she changed for that. I was kind of like, wow. Yeah.
And where were they
going out? Exactly.
They wouldn't got their clothes.
Did she say she was getting a bag packed to go somewhere? Maybe that's what.
they went and got stuff, like they cleaned his. I thought one of the strangest music crescendos I've ever seen was when Johnny goes back to his house and he all of a sudden gets this idea and he goes and looks at the closet. We have a shot from the closet and we see empty hangers with a da-da-da! I'm like, oh my God, an empty closet.
They took my clothes.
They took my clothes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. That
But
was
you
the
know,
point,
you're
but it
talking
was
about
just weird.
the crescendo.
Yeah,
That was funny. But you know, you were talking about how you have a hard time, or how it really gets to you, the impersonation and who is real or whatever. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, but they did such an amazing job with that. Like, it definitely gave me the same chills that I would get watching. I'm totally spacing out. The Body Snatchers, even like at the end with Donald Sutherland, when you don't, and he opens up his, they did such a good job being creepy, and they established these characters, in that scene with them, with the phones, them working on the phone lines, and so you have an idea of these characters, and then these totally cold shells kind of walking around. It was creepy. Absolutely.
Well, that's how you tell who the aliens are and the humans are. Is the aliens have all the clothes and the humans are walking around naked because the aliens stole all their clothes.
Or they only have really fancy dresses left in the closet, and they have to put those on.
This looks like an adequate outfit for a human.
There's some attention to detail there too, because the guys, Frank and George, they're the linemen out there, and they're wearing clothes and they have coveralls on.
Yeah.
So they can they can have two people there identical. Just one of them was wearing the coveralls and one was wearing the clothes that he had under. Just, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't automatically remanufacture the clothes.
This is a beautiful dress, but I wonder why the buttons go all the way down in the front.
How did they get this button?
Try it standing up.
That's his little ray gun thing. I don't know. He was gonna like blow his shit up with that. Blow his ship up with that.
Wow! Look out!
Johnny comes face to face.
How'd you get that scar, Johnny?
Wow, mother.
Aliens blew my shit up. My ship.
Well, here's my other little tricky gift that I thought was cool.
Oh, nice.
Pew, pew, pew,
Pew, pew, pew.
Anyway,
awesome.
I did like how it like created a line.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. The rock fell apart. They had a good little effect on there, which I'm sure wasn't that hard to do, but it sure looked good. And he gets the idea, they're trying to convince him that we don't want to hurt you, especially you. We just want to fix our thing and get out of here.
But we will kill you.
She's like standing on the other side of the chasm going, just a little bit closer.
Yeah. He wanted me to fall in there.
Yeah. It's like,
hey, wait a second.
So Doc, so you saw it in 3D. So one of the things I was reading was if you don't see this in 3D, you're really missing out, because there are a lot of shots that he said one of the cool things about this movie is it isn't like a lot of later 3D movies where they always have something like
it's not coming at you as much. It's more about that. Yeah.
And this was a couple of examples. One is that telescope in 3D, I imagine, was really
that worked
looming
really well.
out there.
Yep.
Because I liked how they did it just without 3D. I thought, oh wow, I like the setup of that scene,
the perspective,
the perspective of it, yeah.
And then when they're in the sheriff's office, and I think the sheriff is getting ready to go out and get the posse going, and that gun is hanging in the foreground, and he reaches his hand right out, like almost right out into the screen to grab that gun, and they said that was a really good effect that you don't think about it. It's not like whereas the avalanche, obviously, I guess the ship coming at you, that's an obvious one too, but There was a lot of cool perspectives.
That's cool.
Well, most of the 3D was depth, right? Especially with the desert stuff that worked out really well. The hallway scene, or the alleyway scene that we were talking about earlier, worked really well.
Speaking of that,
foreground and background going on.
They had some excellent sets and backdrops.
Yes.
I mean, it was amazing, the detail and miniatures. Some of the miniature stuff.
I would love to see this in 3D because it from what you're describing, Doc, it's like it brought out scenes that I thought were great just in regularly watching it. But I'm trying to imagine that alley scene with more depth. I mean, that's really cool. It's like a movie where the 3D wasn't just like this new fancy thing, but it actually looked really cool.
Yeah. And it helped
tell it wasn't a spear coming at you.
Right.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, I mean, without the whole coming at you gimmicks, it wasn't intrusive like it can be. It didn't take you out of the movie, but it was. It really. It's a really. I mean, this and Creature are some of the better 3D 50s movies.
Well, you're Chad. You mentioned this, and I didn't until I read it. I never once thought about it being shot in a stage, and most of those outdoor shots were shot in a stage with a vanishing perspective backdrop, and then the only ones that weren't were the ones outside that were looking up,
right,
or like the telephone lines, that kind of stuff, or the helicopter, I think.
Oh, that helicopter.
But otherwise, they always showed it. I climb over this rim. I'm looking up into the sky, and then the camera switches, and now I'm going down into this finite space.
And most backdrops in movies like that, you can see there's waves and sometimes, but these looked amazing, and you couldn't. In some cases, you couldn't tell where the backdrop began and the set ended. And
it works in 3D as well because they have stuff in the foreground.
Yeah.
They have a cactus or they'll have, So it really worked well.
So what about one of the weirdest things, which I saw later, apparently was an effect, the owl that flipped 360 degrees.
Oh my God. All those animals were like,
had a wire. They had a wire on it or something.
Oh, it wasn't a real owl. It was a fake owl.
It was a real owl, but they somehow manipulate, jerked.
And there was a coyote there too. That kind
of
a rabbit.
Looked like they were shooting at him or something. I didn't see any "no animals were harmed" warning at the end of this movie.
I don't see that either. Anyway.
Oh no.
Well, the boulder scene, I'm saying boulders, they're just big giant rocks that, the characters were hiding behind, or when they meet Frank, the alien Frank for the first time. Those really got some nice depth. I mean, shallow depth in that case, but it was really good.
Well, I also felt like it added so much. For me, it added a lot to the story. I love that it was in desert and kind of in these desolated areas was perfect for the story. And the fact that, and they did such a good job with it, with the sets and stuff. It really drew you in. I really liked that. And then even just thinking, yep, exactly. And now thinking about how cool it looked in 3D. And now I'm kind of looking back at some of the shots, some of the scare shots where it's like she thought it was the alien, but it was a Joshua tree or a cactus or something.
Oh, that was really good.
Like,
that was a
now that just kind of makes me go, oh wow, I wonder what that that's so cool.
The Joshua tree. That was another one.
Yeah, she does that a couple times, and I remember thinking, they should have packaged her scream and made whatever the female Wilhelm scream would be.
They should have,
because it was
exactly.
It was incredible.
Long drawn out scream for over a tree.
Yeah.
I particularly liked the explosion of when the ship crashed and the avalanche too. I thought were incredible. They just, I don't know. They had me. I thought they looked great. However, those effects were done, but the explosion was
And nobody had any interest of trying to figure out what was under there. They're like, nah, we're not digging in there. The scientists weren't going to dig. The police weren't going to dig.
They're going to come take over the world. We'll look at it if we have to.
They're going to have to dig out under 200 tons of dirt first.
Yeah, nobody even his buddy, you know, the other scientist was like,
what do you think to do with it? But he got globbed as well. He got globbed.
So another quick shot of
that was creepy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of the ship. You got the smoke and the fog and stuff billowing around it, and that you could see in there. You didn't know what the hell it was.
Mm-hmm.
It
looks alive, almost like pulsing. You know.
Yeah, almost like a nuclear, like an atom or something in the middle there doing something, and then it kind of turns around and goes into the dark, and then the creature comes out. Yeah, and I skipped this part, just sort of the flying parts. That's just so cool. I just don't. Anyway,
I love that.
I did too. Absolutely loved it.
Is that a fin on top or like a?
Yeah, on the back. Yeah,
okay.
There's like a tail fin or something.
Yeah, I kept wondering when I was watching if it was a string that got caught.
Me too.
Me too. A wire.
Oh.
But you realize that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I can't remember. There was one shot where I thought I could see it, but right after, as that's coming to you, right after that bottom shot, is when you can start to get real close, and you can see like the edge of a mirror right here on the side of the shot.
Okay.
And then I just had to throw this up. This guy, the helicopter pilot, is one of those guys that's in tons of movies. I know he was in Revenge of the Creature. I'll bet he
always plays the smart aleck guy.
Yeah. And that helicopter, there's no way in hell I'm getting in that helicopter. I can't believe they scrunched 3 people in there. It didn't have a cockpit. It was like a toy helicopter or something. It's just,
the guy on the left is bummed because his movie bombed over the weekend.
But yeah, he's one of those guys. I'm sure we've done more movies with him than just Revenge of the Creature, but I didn't look him up, so I'm pretty sure he's like the last guy. He had several lines too, and he's uncredited, so I don't know.
Well, they didn't.
209. Yeah, 209 credits. So
wow.
I almost want to feel. I feel like he was on a sitcom or two as well.
He does have that.
I've seen him on some of those
expression, I guess, or the
like his
comedic touch to it. Wow, he started in 1939. I'm just trying to scroll up to the 50s and see what other sci-fi stuff he was in. Boy, not seeing much. Well, here, Mom, Pot Kettle on Vacation. All right. So, let's just hit these actors real quick because I got some.
Let's let Daphne do it.
Let me at him.
Richard Carlson there in the top picture. He's in Abbott and Costello Hold the Ghost.
Oh, wow. Great. Oh, fantastic.
With his glasses on. And then the Creature from the Black Lagoon. And the next one, the bottom one there is, I think it's Magnetic Monster. From like a year before or something like that.
He was so good in Creature.
Technically, it's the same year, but you're probably right. It was before. But he did 3 3D movies. It came from outer space, Creature from the Black Lagoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a movie called The Maze.
Yes.
Which is one I haven't seen.
I haven't seen that either. It's got a great poster. I happened to run across that while we were seeing it. And he was like, I don't know how many of these movies he was actually in, but he, besides these ones I showed here, but it feels like he was in all of them, or somebody, or like he created the prototype, and then all the rest of them, Richard Denning and everybody else, were just playing versions of him.
He was great in this. I thought he did great in this.
Yeah.
Well, and you could tell too that a lot of the lines he delivered, you could tell that was Ray Bradbury dialogue, because it was, almost philosophical in the nature of it, as opposed to, those damn creatures are going to blow us up, or something like that.
Well, this is one of the first movies I ever saw where the creature wasn't here to harm anyone. It was just here to repair, ship, and leave. Most of the time they're here to kill everybody or take over the planet. But this is the first one I remember ever seeing where that wasn't the case.
Yeah, you just
they
just want to get out of here.
Yeah.
They were claiming that up to this time, most of the aliens were benevolent, but I don't think that's true. All you got to do is look at the thing from another world.
Yeah.
But right after this was War of the Worlds too. And Richard Carlson, I forgot, he was in Valley of Gwangi.
Wow. Forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
That's right.
should have had a picture from that. But he does a great job. And then Barbara Rush, wow, she's
amazing.
This the top shot. She was in When Worlds Collide, and the middle picture is from an episode of The Outer Limits. And Chad, the bottom one, do you recognize that?
Yeah, it's Batman, isn't it?
Yeah, Nora Clavicle.
Yeah,
Nora Clavicle.
and the Women's Crime Club or something like that. Yeah,
so good.
Oh, she was huge on Peyton Place, wasn't she?
I would have bet she was in Columbo, but I couldn't see anything. I'm like going, she had to be a Columbo. She's a perfect Columbo.
Oh, one more thing. Were you ever on my show?
She was Marion and Robin and the Seven Hoods.
Yes.
I love the Rat Pack movies.
Yeah, no, that was a fun movie.
She also was good in this. I really felt like the connection between her and Richard Carlson.
Yeah.
It was just really genuine.
Well, I thought it was funny that he was like, it's almost cliched, but in this one, I liked it. They're always telling her, "You're not going down in that crater. You stay here."
She goes on,
and he goes down there, and then right after him,
right? Yeah.
Like,
well, and I definitely felt like a lot of eye rolls with the sheriff. With just like.
Who definitely had a crush on her.
Well,
and that worked too. I mean, there was a chemistry between them as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You believed it. Yeah. But it was just like, yeah.
His whole thing about the town teacher, though, that rang true because my mom, like right before this, like the 51, 52, when she was still single and she graduated and started teaching in the little Iowa town she taught in, you did not go to a bar. The single women teachers had to be careful how they behaved and how they were seen in public. I mean, it was a big deal because they were supposed to be setting so her hanging out with this nut job stargazer, turns out to be the only guy who's got it right.
And I feel like they made a couple comments about her being with him, like at his house.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
That would have been a scandal, I think, in 1953. And then just to throw in Charles Drake, I just have fun looking at these. He was in the middle picture is Tobor the Great. I don't know if anybody's seen that or not. It's a robot. That's him on the right. The top picture is Harvey with Jimmy Stewart.
Oh no!
Oh, that's right.
And the bottom picture, obviously, is Star Trek. He played a Commodore. And it was in the episode that's where the landing party goes down on a planet with some strange radiation, and they come back to the ship, and now it's affecting them. This is the one where it makes them go old. So,
yeah.
Anyway, but he was in Harvey. I saw Winchester 73 and the Glenn Miller Story were all Jimmy Stewart movies. He was in those. And then he was in like half a dozen movies with Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy picked him to be in To Hell and Back because he reminded him of a buddy in his squad in World War II. And then he goes on to be in like 5 or 6 Audie Murphy movies. they became friends and stuff. So
he looked really familiar to me. I wonder if, now sometimes I think I picked up on some of these guys with movies that my Opa would have watched, even if I was just walking in and out. But because those I've seen those kind of, and I wonder if that's what I saw. He looked very familiar.
Well, he did all kinds of movies, and then in the late 60s up to the 70s, it kind of morphs into TV. So he's, again, surprise, Bonanza. I think he was on Bonanza.
Everybody did Bonanza, didn't
he?
Even the robot.
He was on.
Remember his little cowboy?
Bonzo Goes to College, I think, or College for Bonzo, or something like that.
Yes.
Macmillan and Wife.
That's probably it. Yeah.
He did an episode of that. So he's in all these Canon, The Rookies, Police Story, Harry-O. You just go down. Oh, this is an interesting one. He's in a movie called Scream Pretty Peggy, still having troubles, that starred Betty Davis. So another Psycho Biddy movie from the early 70s.
Valley of the Dolls.
So yeah, he was in almost every kind. You go through the 40s and 50s, he's in a kind of an equal mix of film noir, westerns, and then some drama and rom-coms mixed in there. It's surprising that he never actually became, starred in anything. It seems like I think he starred in some B movie, some B film noir, but doesn't get you much notoriety. Okay, I think. Oh, and then Joe Sawyer, the guy that lives in my nightmares. He played the sergeant on The Adventures of Rin Tin Tin, which is, I knew he also looked familiar from something, but anybody ever see Rin Tin Tin?
I watched a few episodes, but not a lot of them as a kid.
That was a German Shepherd at a cavalry post. And there was a little boy there that dressed up like a soldier. Anyway.
It was disturbing, yeah.
It seems like there was something else. That maybe I'm done. Are you guys done? Ideas, things you want to talk about that we haven't mentioned?
I think we got it.
I have so they had this argument about whether to see the monster or not see the monster. Having hindsight is 100 or is 2020. I guess it's. I love what they came up with.
I did too.
I think I would have lived with not being able to see it too, but I loved what they had. It just wow.
Monsters with low self-esteem. You can't look at us. We're too ugly.
You can't handle it.
You can't handle it. How do you know what we can't handle?
And then when he shows him, he goes, "Oh,
yeah, absolutely right." Yeah.
What about other science fiction movies in the 50s? How does it?
This is top tier, I think. I feel like it. This is a top tier science fiction film.
And like you were, sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know how you talked about it being Ray Bradbury dialogue and stuff. I feel like you could watch it and not put that together, but when you kind of think about it, then you see it. But I feel like it's an excellent example of where some of that philosophy is in science fiction, and that's kind of in the underlying story, those moral questions and stuff. And so that's another way that this seems like a classic to me, because it catches those questions, that often came up in sci-fi. I think that's great. I love that that's in monster movies. I love that that's in horror movies.
Yeah.
And you really see that here.
Yeah, Bradbury had this big long quote about. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but basically the fear of the other, and until we can learn how to get along with it. He does it in a much better description and more inspiring than that. But until we get along, learn to get along together, we're not going to be able to interact with.
Usually that attitude shows up in a horror sci-fi movie, and the one scientist is going, "We want to help you. We want to," and he gets his face wiped off by the alien.
It's zap.
Yeah, you know.
Wave the flag at the aliens.
Yeah, we can get along. Our two races can get along. If you'll only listen to me for one.
Well, I think it's War of the Worlds where those three guys go up to the pit with the white flags.
Yeah, they all become shadow dust.
The aliens are like, they're coming with the white flags again.
What does that mean? Shoot them! Oh, man. We didn't say a whole lot about Russell Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
let's talk about
what else is
there?
That's true.
The professor.
Yes.
But he also was in This Island Earth, and he was in Attack of the Crab Monsters. I mean, small world, but
yes.
But of course, everybody knows him as the Professor
Gilligan's Island. Yeah.
And then
which Jack Arnold directed too. I can't remember if you said that off air or on air.
It was off air.
It was off, but yeah, he did what? 26 episodes
or 26 episodes or something.
Yeah. Well,
26 out of the 100 episodes that were there.
Here's another weird coincidence in Jeff's world of connections. Russell Johnson did 2 episodes of The Twilight Zone. They were both time travel episodes. And one of them, he's a scientist that invents a time machine, and the guy he pulls out of the past is the guy who is getting hung in the West. He's being hung, and just as they knock the horse house and he starts to drop, he's transported into the future.
Oh, that would have came in handy before the weather started getting rough.
Yeah, so then he freaks out in the future. This is good. He can't handle all the noise and the activity and everything. It's Albert Sammy plays him. That's okay, Daphne.
It's just turning into another Attack of the Crab Monster. I can tell.
No, nobody's wearing bell bottoms.
I'm going to mute myself here for.
So, Albert Sammy is the bad guy, the cowboy that he transports forward. He runs away from the doctor. He's freaked out by cars, TVs, and horns and radio, just noise all the time, and he ends up killing the doctor. And then while he's there trying to figure out what to do, some guy comes in to rob the lab and ends up killing Albert Sammy. And then while he's nudging around the lab trying to find something to steal, he wanders into the time transfer chamber and he gets sent back and ends up at the end of the rope.
No.
It was improbable, but awesome karma.
But very good, yes.
and then the other one, he's it's kind of like Jack Finney's Time and Again, where he goes back in time because he's just thinking about it. I don't know. They're having this big argument about time travel and whether you can affect history. And he ends up going back in time to Lincoln's assassination. And he tries to stop it, but he can't, even though there's one police officer that believes him that's trying to help him. Then he kind of, I don't know, he goes back and he's back in this gentleman's club where they're having this argument. And a guy that used to be like the butler there is now one of the members and is telling these guys a story about how his family came into property when his father, the policeman that tried to stop John Wilkes Booth, was elected to councilman and then mayor and then invested in real estate and became rich, blah, 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 So he did change history, just not the assassination. But I just think to me, it's weird that he's only in 2 Twilight Zone episodes and they're both time travel ones. And they're different versions of that. So yeah, Russell Johnson he's a pretty good actor. He's another guy I would have liked to see do more stuff. But
he was the shining point of Attack of the Crab Monsters.
He kind of was.
Yes.
All right. Well, if nobody has anything else to say, and I'll keep my mouth shut, we do have some feedback.
All right. Feedback.
Let's see. Who wants to do? First one is on, this is going back a ways, episode 83, The Incredible Shrinking Man.
Hey,
How?
nice choice.
Who wants to read that?
Interesting. Is this I'll read it.
Oh, okay.
The Incredible Shrinking Man, and this is from Anthrocoon.
Yep.
There is a Blu-ray now, Criterion Collection, and a colorized version showed up on Internet Archive. He's shown as grumpy and angry given his situation, so maybe lighter or comedic at moments, as in Incredible Shrinking Woman, could have been shown. The aim was to get to the good stuff, like we just talked about, seller scenes as quickly as possible. The original book, they had a daughter. Putting in kids could have scenes like him riding in a radio-controlled car, etc. Growing is something we experienced as kids, and it was gradual, maybe an inch or two per year. Shrinking is bizarre, and for him, it's much quicker. So yeah, that was craziness. Yeah.
Well, you made me look too, because I think we actually said that Incredible Shrinking Man needed one of those comprehensive Blu-rays with a bunch of extras on it, because at the time there wasn't one, and the Criterion release came out about a year after we did our episode. So
Cool.
But I agree about having a kid in there. That could have added some interesting interactions.
And just him at the end was just what a great ending to a movie, where he just shrank into the microverse or whatever.
That goes into the vanishing point, kind of.
Where he meets Ant-Man and the Wasp.
The quantum realm, the Micronauts. And...
That did happen there, right?
Can I
It did. A lot. Go ahead.
Go. This is totally unrelated. Go ahead, finish your.
No,
finish your. I'm sure it's related. More related
no. I was
mine.
just going to say it's that stuff always fascinated me. There was a series of comic books. I think they were in the 70s, like a new series. You guys, and I can't think of what it was, but how they went to another world, but it was, I can't remember if they got shrunk or if the other world was giant. So it's like at every level of life, there's a whole nother sub-level that's living in atoms as if those are galaxies. And,
it's a comic book.
well, I thought it was a comic book series I thought it was like the early 70s, maybe late 60s. Like
there's a lot of comics that touched on that. Incredible Hulk touched on that. Like we talked about Micronauts, and there were a lot of comic series that kind of touched on that.
I was thinking, did Jack Kirby start his own comic line at one point?
He had a line of comics that he did for Pacific Comics, I believe.
That wasn't until the 80s, though.
But that was a long time afterwards.
Okay, never mind. All right, Daphne.
But he had Challengers of the Unknown. I don't know. That could have been a Challengers.
That could have been it. Yeah, that could have been it.
Maybe.
I was just going to say I love The Incredible Shrinking Woman. I've seen it about
times.
Sorry. And I'm glad that it just gets mentioned. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
All right. This one's kind of long, and it was Doc's pick. I Was a Teenage Werewolf from Mikey Z.
Sure. You want me to do it?
Can I do it, Doc?
All right. Mikey Z says about I Was a Teenage Werewolf. Cool, iconic makeup on the drooling Michael Landon. Like Chad, I remember seeing it first in Famous Monsters and saw the film on late night TV way after his Bonanza days and loved it. Dependable Whit Bissell as a villainess.
He still has that name.
Yeah. Catalyst. Michael Kenton's hormones going wild.
I'm sorry. It says here in Wikipedia, damnable Whit Bissell.
Herman Cohen produced the other teenage themed films. Also, Sam Katzman produced another werewolf film in the 50s called The Werewolf. Another fun romp down lycanthropy lane. Great podcast, guys. To one of my favorite low budget films. Wasp Woman up next. Can the Swarm be creeping up soon on the 70s? Doc, trivia time. I Was a Teenage Werewolf was not the first horror film with a musical number in it. Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman had a musical number in it. I think it was, yes, that's true. I think it was the different kind of musical, modern kind of thing. But anyway, Pharaoh Lee. Also, a stretch here. Any version of the Phantom Opera outside music? Yes, but it's a little slightly different what we were after. But yes, you're right. Also, Jeff, one more thing. Instead of Batman connections, why not venture into Columbo connections? I know the totally awesome and stupendous. Sorry, Daphne might agree.
Or just stupid.
Thank you,
I've been
guys.
trying.
You have been. You always bring.
Well, we started doing Batman. Chad was the one that first started bringing up the Batman stuff, I think. And then
you bring my guy in.
Joseph Perry and I.
Oh yeah. I used to look for episodes of The Texan. I haven't really looked for a while, but I'll get back to that. Appreciate it, Mikey.
Mikey Z.
Good stuff. The Wasp Woman.
I love them.
That was Chad's, right?
Yes.
Want to take that one, Chad?
Yeah, sure. Walter Fector, 8080, says Michael Mark, Eric Zinthrop played that's Zinthrop, man. I can't get his name right. Eric Zinkenthorpe played the father of the little girl Maria in Frankenstein 1931. I wish I still had my copies of Famous Monsters in Film.
Yes.
How about say Stave instead of stay safe?
Okay.
Ciao. But it's that Zinthrop guy. He screws up my whole vocabulary.
Well, we threw that. It makes me wonder if sometimes when I put pictures up, if we don't describe what the pictures are. Because I know we put up Michael Mark and we put up pictures of him carrying the daughter.
I think we brought that up in the episode.
Yeah.
I think.
But I don't know if we said it. If we said that he was the father of the little girl in Frankenstein. Or if we just showed the picture. So I have to remember for the audio people.
We did.
I thought we did.
I thought we did too. Yeah, he was all through stuff. So Daphne, you want to take Gregory Crosby has a suggestion for the Decades of Horror Poet Laureate.
Yes, Gregory Crosby. Yesterday's foray was to the Metrograph here in New York City for Gordon Douglas's Them, 1954. In 35 millimeter, no less. I've seen it many times, but this was the first time on the big screen. The best of the giant insect movies of the 50s.
Absolutely.
The first third of the movie, before the somewhat hokey giant ants show up, remains particularly eerie and effective. Especially Sandy Desher's catatonic little girl. Has Classic Era done this yet?
No, we need to. We need to soon.
I assumed that when Doc joined us, that would be the first one he picked. But I think it's kind of hard to find streaming.
It's hard to. I think. Yeah. I have a Blu-ray or DVD of it somewhere, but
I do too. Does everybody else have one? Or
you're mute, Chad.
I own a copy as well.
I do not, but I'm willing to get one.
Oh, well, we don't want you to. It's probably cheaper you could probably stream it for pay-per-view too. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out. I figure that's coming soon.
Just the sound effects.
I personally
alone
prefer the Black Scorpions, but I know everybody else, Them is the big one. It came first.
They're remaking it finally.
Which one?
Them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what we hear. Well, thank you, Walter, Gregory,
yes,
Mikey Z, and Anthrocoon.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
First time.
That is a new comment.
Yeah, first time commenters there.
So glad you checked in on Incredible Shrinking Man. I think we had Ralph joined us for that one to pitch in on how they did the special effects for that.
I remember that one because I didn't have any beef with Ralph at the time.
At the time.
How things have changed.
The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Sinbad, him bad. Who gives a crap? I can't get those movies straight.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll do another one. Released between 1920 and 1969. Next up is one chosen by Daphne.
We're going to do The City of the Dead. also known as Horror Hotel from 1960.
Woohoo!
Christopher Lee.
That's
I
gonna
had
be good.
forgotten who the director was. John Llewellyn Moxey, who did Night Stalker, right? Didn't he do the first Night Stalker?
Did he?
What am I getting that wrong?
I don't know. I don't know that off the top of my head.
I don't either.
To find out.
Well,
I haven't
God.
seen
Find out in 2 weeks.
I should know it. Yeah.
Find
We'll
out
tell
in
you
2
in
weeks.
2 weeks.
Can't
Wait,
go offline.
I think I have seen it actually before. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, the movie? Yeah.
Yeah, I it's one of those where when I was looking to pick something and I started watching it, and I don't remember it, but I recognize some scenes, so I'm not sure if I've seen it before. But I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be cool. This is going to be a good one. Where can we find that streaming?
On Canopy and Tubi.
Tubi has
There we go.
everything.
And everybody knows,
Not
I hope by
sponsored.
now, what Canopy is. Canopy and Hoopla are the streaming services that you can get 6 free movies a month from each of them if your library participates with them. So if you have a library card, you can sign up for an account.
Cunningham, what am I going to do with a library card?
Yeah.
They've got
hold
lots
on.
of cool movies. They really do. They've got lots of really cool
Yes.
stuff on Canopy.
As long as I don't have to read any of them.
Don't have
I
to
wasn't
read
crazy.
any of it.
I wasn't crazy. John Llewellyn Moxey directed The Night Stalker, the
Oh,
movie.
you're not crazy.
I'm not.
You're
crazy.
not crazy.
He could just be
All
telling us that.
right. Keep telling me that, please.
Thank you, Mikey Z, for mentioning Columbo. I appreciate it.
Always.
Always.
All the things you make me do. See, now I have now watched all the episodes of Columbo, and I now am paying attention to wardrobe.
I'm sorry.
Who knows? Who knows what's next?
Daphne,
sorry,
you're ruining this
everybody.
whole
I know.
podcast.
I'm
All
sorry.
right. Thanks,
I
everybody. And here,
apologize.
as we drag on, almost longer than the movie, once again,
Might
thanks,
be.
Chad, Doc, and Daphne. Appreciate it. I was really looking forward to this.
It's been
I'm
my
glad we all
extreme
love this
extreme
movie the same
pleasure.
way.
It's just been a joy to be here with you today, and the minutia,
I say
and-
good night, sir.
and the buttons, and the
Good night.
skirts.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Gruesome Magazine.